It was coming into the holiday season, and I was supposed to have the holidays at my house, and then I found a lump.
She had breast cancer about 10 years ago that we treated with a minimally invasive technique with radiation and lumpectomy.
I kept feeling it, but I kept thinking, it'll go away, it's a cyst, it's nothing. And it didn't. So after a week or two, I said, I've got to have this checked out. And I went to see Dr. Thomas on December 13th, and he did a needle biopsy in his office, and it came back after a week, inconclusive.
It wasn't 100% clear, but sure inferred that she had cancer there. So the thought process with her was that we would go in, we'd do a aggressive biopsy under anesthesia, and then if it turned out to be cancer, which she and I both really felt it was, that we would proceed with the mastectomy.
I was just in a state of shock and panic and despair. I was admitted to United Regional on December 21st. When I pre-registered, she did explain the whole insurance to me. It is really good to be able to talk to them and they can just answer you in 25 words or less and explain what you owe and how to pay it. Oh my gosh, the facilities at the Bridwell Towers are just stunning. Everything is always clean. I've just thought the facilities are just beautiful here. My only complaint is that when I came for my 2 surgeries, you go past the coffee shop in the lobby and it smells heavenly. And I can't have coffee or anything, of course, because I'm gonna have surgery and I'm just, oh, it's torture to smell it. But the people are so sweet. The valet parkers greet you even if you haven't used their services. As you enter, there's that central desk and they're always friendly and smiling and how can I help you, where can I direct you? I really like that people escort you everywhere because I can get lost anywhere. I remember a gentleman who was a volunteer. He signed us in, and I remember how friendly and nice he was and calm, which helped.
The patient can go through whatever he or she has to go through and not have to worry about family out in the waiting room. Are they being taken care of? Do they know what's happening? To be able to just put the patient mind at ease so that they can worry about the things that they have ahead of them.
I really like Dr. Harvey because he's a friendly man, always comes in, shakes my hand, tells me exactly what's gonna happen, how it's gonna go. I really like to be in the know. I want to know what's happening and what to expect.
It's not just nurse and doctor, it's a lot of other departments that come through, work with the patient too. So we kind of have to collaborate and talk together, you know, and say, well, this is what's going on with the patient right now. Everybody has to be together, united. That's the only way it's gonna work.
One of the nurses, she was really sweet to me. Of course, all of them are very friendly and caring, and even though they're really, really busy, they made me feel like a human. I wasn't just, you know, a duty to get done. I was a person who was freaking out, and they were kind to me, and they always, you know, give you a little touch, a little reassurance, and it makes the experience much easier.
There's a lot of emotions, you know, going on through their heads. They're trying to decide, okay, what's gonna happen to me? We try to listen to them and see what, you know, what else we can help them with to understand the process.
We took her to surgery. She had to have what we call completion mastectomy. You know, anytime we do this, there's people involved, not just in the OR. We have the preoperative team that does all the preoperative coordination, same type of team approach postoperatively with getting people to take care of her after surgery. Being able to see good results, people can literally be cured by things, that's kind of what surgery's all about.
I don't remember that night, but then I was in la-la land pretty much. And when I awoke, I had a mastectomy because it was breast cancer again. I was distressed, but glad that they caught it early. I was starving because I hadn't eaten in like 24 hours, and of course I had to have some coffee.
When I went into her room, I always smiled and talked, and if she wanted to talk, I would listen, just to make sure she had everything that she needed for her meal.
I remember it tasted good. It was so good. And I think it was French toast. I mean, I don't remember specifically. I just remember the coffee and some food, but especially the coffee. And she was very nice. A lady named Ellen Cannon, who is a breast health navigator, came in to see me. I'd never heard of such a thing, but she was a godsend. And she really calmed me down too, because I was so upset. It does help when people touch you and say, it's gonna be fine, this is how you do this is what to expect, and all will be well.
I love taking care of people. I love to be able to help the family members. I don't like for patients to have to come in and stumble their way through. And I know that the doctors are very, very busy, so I like to be a liaison between the patient and the physician and the individual departments that work with these patients and what their needs are.
I think she's really good at what she does, because it's a very emotional time for a woman, and I really appreciate her being there to help me. She really made me feel better. She made me feel hopeful. And it was good to know that there were solutions for how, I was gonna have to deal with this. And I appreciate her. Nobody has any concept of what goes on behind the scenes in any business. Most of it probably is behind the scenes, because you really only connect with a doctor, a nurse or two, a rad tech. There's a few people that you really speak to, but there are people behind you bustling, making the machine work.
Well, everybody has a role to play at United Regional, and everybody's job is important.
I think making a positive difference is going out and touching on just the little bitty things in that patient. You need to connect with every single patient that you come in contact with.
I know if it was my family or a loved one, I would want the room to look good for them. So any patient's no different. I clean the patient rooms, and then after I do that, I go and get linen for the bed and linen for the bathroom. If I see something wrong, when I'm done, I will go and let the unit rep know whatever I find wrong, and she will put a maintenance request in for them to fix it. So a lot of people help me.
My father was a cancer patient here through the fall. Completely changes your perspective as a physician on what people do, and even floors that you're not used to working with. You can see their focus, their passion for what they do that's totally out of my field of expertise. It's very sobering, very sobering.
We all rely on each other. We all share the same stressors and the same struggles, and kind of can relate a lot in many ways to each other. And so it's important to be able to look to those around you that share those same struggles to lift you back up at the end of the day, and know that you're surrounded by people who are going through what you're going through and share your same goals and beliefs and want to do the right thing.
I was coming up for my pre-admission to have my port placement. I told Dr. Thomas, remember during the summer I had a mammogram and I had a cyst in the other breast, and they said, we'd like to do a 6-month follow-up. And I said, I've got that 6-month follow-up coming up. And he said, well, let's look at that breast before I do the port placement, just in case we have to do more surgery. And so I was really freaking out. I'll never forget this young lady. She is the one who did the mammogram.
You could tell she was just emotionally bent. She was so nervous. She wanted to be there to find out if something was wrong, but she didn't really want to know what the results were going to be.
She saw my other side, had just had a recent mastectomy, and she saw that I was in a state of despair and I was scared. And she gave me a hug. And she was so sweet to me, and she got tears in her eyes.
After I performed the exam, looked over all my images, I was able to go speak with the radiologist.
She says, I'll have him look at it real quick if you can wait. I don't want you to go home and worry.
And he was able to come and talk to her, and before she left that day, she was relieved.
He assured me that my other breast looked fine, and that whatever had been there, I had had a cyst. It was gone, and not to worry about that breast at all.
Alice and I sat in the waiting room of the mammography department and just cried.
I just thought that was really very sweet of her to do that, and I appreciate her extra step so much.
I was just so happy for her that she could go home knowing that everything was going to be okay today. The perfect United Regional employee is someone who doesn't see this as a job at all, but comes here because they love what they do and they get to be surrounded by great people that share that same philosophy and thought. I think the person leads with their heart and makes decisions based on compassion and care and thought versus looking at it just as a task. I think that person communicates well and is sincere and genuine. And at the end of the day, it's so much more than just a job. It's really treating it like it's a home and it's a family, and we're all kind of in this together.
I felt like they were a team. They have my best interests at heart, and they all work towards that goal. The people have been fantastic. It's been a very good experience, and I never walked alone.